Hi everyone, welcome back. Today is my blush declutter. I've already done 2 other declutters in the last few weeks that you may have seen. So this is the 3rd one, all about blush. So I took all my blushes out, I swatched them, I talk about them. I pretty much swatched everything that I have. So grab a snack. This is going to be a long one as the other ones have been as well, but I didn't really have any expectations going into this. I just wanted to get rid of things that I thought were just okay, or things that I'm not super attached to for whatever reason, things that in my gut I know I don't use and I'm not going to use. That was really my only mindset going into this. So we did get rid of some. I still have a lot left at the end, but I did get rid of quite a few blushes, which I'm proud of and I'm happy with. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you'll stick around, subscribe, make sure to watch part 1 and part 2 if you haven't already. And I think that's everything. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Today is the day some of you have been waiting for and some of you are not looking forward to. I'm kind of in the middle. So we're gonna do blush today. We've already done drawer 1 and drawer 2, so we're on to drawer 3 now, and this is all blush. So we're gonna go through all of these, declutter them, and I will swatch as many as I can, explain the differences to as many of these as I can. And I don't really have any expectation here. I don't have any idea how many things I'm going to declutter. I'm just going to declutter what I feel is necessary. And I think that's everything. So I wanted to show you the starting point here. And now, like I've done before, we're going to go like in groups. I'm not going to take out too many at once and just go bit by bit and declutter this. So let's get started. Let's get started. I just kind of went row by row in my drawer, and this was row number 1. So there's really no method to why I chose these first. But we're gonna do this the way I've been doing my other declutters because it seems to work well for me. I'm gonna pick the ones that I know I'm not gonna declutter first, and then we'll move into things that I'm considering decluttering. All right, number 1, this will be staying. This is the NYX Buttermilk blush. This is their newest blush launch, and this shade in particular is Butta Together. This formula, including the bronzer formula, is so nice and so high quality, just very luxurious, very silky, creamy, like a satin texture. These are fantastic. I only have one shade. This is shade Butta Together, like I said. So I think this is the lightest pink that they make, I'm pretty sure. And this is what it looks like. But this is stunning. This is one of the best drugstore blushes I've tried ever. So that is a definite keep. Next keep. I don't know. I know one of these from Sigma, all the packaging looks the same. So it's kind of hard to tell which is which. Okay, so we have 2 of the cream blushes, Corda Rosa and Nearly Wild, I believe. Yeah. So this is actually a really good formula. So this is Nearly Wild. I am going to declutter this, not because it's not good. I'm going to give this to my mom actually, because I wonder if she would like this. But this shade is not my favorite on my skin tone. It's just a little bit deep for me, but my mom is a lot deeper than me. She's like a medium tan skin tone. So this color I have a feeling would be really pretty on her. So I'm going to give that one to her. And I'm going to keep this one for myself. So this is Corda Rosa. This is just a really beautiful neutral, like kind of like a warmer neutral peachy shade, but I love that one. So I'm definitely going to keep that. I'm going to declutter Nearly Wild. Then I have 2 of the powders. So I have Sunset Kiss, which looks like this, and Berry Love. These, again, I really like the formula. I can't remember these shades that well, so I'm gonna swatch them. So that is Sunset Kiss, and that is Berry Love. This powder formula is just so nice. It's a very, very smooth, silky powder, which I really like. These are matte blushes also, by the way, from Sigma. So there's the 2 shades there. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep both or if I want to pick just one. I think I might keep Sunset Kiss, which is the lighter, more coral one, mainly because this shade, I know I don't have as many colors like this in my collection as I do this one, which is more of like a mauve berry color. So I think I'm going to declutter Berry Love, and I'm going to see if my mom wants that one actually. And I'm going to keep Sunset Kiss for myself. Okay, let's talk about these from Rare Beauty. These are the powder blushes. This was probably one of the most anticipated launches of the year, I would think, when these were first announced, but then they were very, very, very polarizing. Some people liked them, some people did not. I'm not a huge fan of these, I have to say, and I do love Rare Beauty, and yet here I am with 3 of them. Don't do what I did, which is fall into the hype, thinking that they were gonna be really, really great and buy 3 of them. So that was Happy. I also have Hope. They don't swatch the best either, so don't go off the swatches. This one I know I'm gonna declutter. This is the darkest shade, which was Truth. I found this shade very, very hard to work with, and it went on very patchy on my skin tone, so that one I will definitely be decluttering. Honestly, I could really declutter all of these. They're not my favorite. They're not my favorite. They're definitely more of a pigmented highlighter to me. They have too much glow to be considered a blush, just in my opinion. Oops, actually, this is Truth. That was the one I'm definitely decluttering. You know what? I am gonna declutter all of them, and I'm so sad about that. I wanted to love those, but I wish they had more color and a little bit less glow. And I think they would have been super popular. Now, here's one I am gonna declutter. This is Rose Ink Lip and Cheek in Heliotrope. So first of all, I'm not really sure what's going on with this brand. I think they're still around, but I know Sephora has clearanced all of the products and put everything 50% off. And then I know Rosie Huntington Whiteley, who I guess is the founder of this brand, or it was her brand at one time. She's no longer affiliated with it. So I'm not really sure what's going on with this brand, but I will just say I have never fallen in love with this formula, and I know that that's not really the norm because I know a lot of people loved these lip and cheeks, and this heliotrope color was super popular. These are a little bit too thick for me. Like the cream is a little bit too thick. And you can definitely work with them. Like it's a really pretty shade in heliotrope, but it's just not, I don't know. I've never fallen in love with it. It's just not my favorite personally. So I am gonna declutter that one. I'm also gonna declutter this. This is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush. This formula is not terrible. It's definitely not terrible. I will say it drives me nuts how cheap the packaging is. I know it's Essence and I know it's less expensive, but it just looks like this doesn't make me happy to look at this. And that's just a personal preference thing. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's just this like chipping off or fading away, like that annoys me. And I don't love this blush enough to keep it. It would be one thing if I just really loved the blush. But this is shade number 1, which is Shimmering Rose. And it's fine. It's a really, really, really fair light pink, and I actually have a tan right now, so it doesn't even show up well on my hand right now because I have more color in my skin, but it's not a terrible blush. I do know that some of the shades have big flecks of glitter. I had another shade at one point. I think it might have been shade number 4. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I decluttered that a while ago because it had big chunks of glitter. This shade does not. But again, it's super, super light, and it's just nothing that I feel like I really need. So that will be decluttered. This one from Maybelline, this is the Fit Me blush in the shade number 20 Mauve. This shade It's very light on my skin tone. I will say I've only tried this shade, number 20. This shade is similar to Sublime Flush from Hourglass, if you're familiar with that one. It's like a blue-based lavender pink kind of color. And this is really nice. Is the formula as nice as the Hourglass? No. It's a little bit more powdery, like you can see in the pan when you swatch it. It's very, very powdery, but it gives a very similar effect. Actually, I just sat here and talked myself out of keeping this actually. Is it the worst drugstore blush? Absolutely not. This is one of the better ones that I've tried, powder form. But am I gonna pick this over Hourglass Sublime Flush? No. I'm gonna choose Hourglass every time. I do think it's a decent, more affordable blush option. However, I will say this from NYX is way better formula than this. Like way better. This is so much higher quality than this. Even the packaging is nicer. So actually we are gonna declutter. I am gonna get rid of some stuff here because with blush, I love blush, but I want my blushes to be as intentional as possible. I don't wanna just collect them just to collect them because I have a channel and all of that. I want to keep all the ones that I love, love, love. If it's a lot, that's fine. If it's not a lot, that's also fine. You know what I mean? Okay. Almay, what is this? Healthy Hue Blush in Nearly Neutral. I'm gonna swatch this one. So this is more of like, kind of like a bronzy blush kind of color. It's honestly, you could use this as bronzer and blush. It's kind of that tone that works for both. This is actually pretty nice, but I don't ever use mine. I think it comes in like 2 or 3 shades. The formula is fantastic on this, like not powdery, honestly kind of similar to that NYX Buttermilk blush, but am I gonna pull this out and use it? That is the question. That shade, that is really pretty. Okay, Almay is gonna stay because that color is really beautiful and the formula is too. Okay, then we have Milani Luminoso. Now this is the original one, so they don't even look like this anymore. So I don't even know how old this is, but it's old because this packaging has been gone for a few years now. But this is the original Luminoso, and part of me really wants to keep it because it is, I mean, this was an absolutely gorgeous blush formula, but I don't really use Luminoso anymore. Mine is almost like it kind of looks weird on my swatch there also. It looks a little bit patchy, probably because it's so old. I think it's gonna go. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. I'm not making a ton of excuses for stuff, so that is group number 1. Moving right along to group number 2, I'm gonna do the same thing and pick the ones that are easy. First easy keep here is RMS Hydra ReDimension Hydra Blush in Crystal Slipper. This is relatively new to me, but I love this color. If you are around my skin tone and you like a warmer nude blush that's pretty neutral, that will really go with anything that you want to pair it with, this one in Crystal Slipper, I'm telling you, stunning. That's easy keep. Another one I'm going to keep is La Mercier in Chai, and I'm going to keep this because I feel like this formula needs to make a resurgence. These are so good from La Mercier. I know they were really popular years ago. I feel like they don't get much love anymore, but this color in Chai is like the matte version of Crystal Slipper. It's not identical, but they remind me of each other, but this one just doesn't have that kind of radiant finish that the Crystal Slipper has. This one I guess is a little bit more pink now that I look at it, but it's just a really good neutral, literally would go with anything that you paired it with blush, and I do really like that formula, so that will be staying. I am gonna declutter this from Give, and not really because I don't like the formula. This is a pretty good blush formula. I'm not a huge fan of this shade. This one was shade Stars Aligned. and it pulls very like orangey on me. Do you see how much warmer that one looks than like Crystal Slipper right there? Something about this shade on me pulls a little bit too orange, and I don't love that for my skin tone. So this one is gonna go. This is a good formula from Give. I'm just not a huge fan of the shade. So that one I am gonna declutter. I am gonna keep Valentino, the Eye2Cheek Dual Use Blush and Shadow. This one is in shade number 2. Now this is not a color I would use on my eyes. These are meant for cheeks and eyes, but this particular shade is not really something I would use on my eyes, but I do really like this color as a blush, and this is a really gorgeous formula from Valentino. This is, in fact, the only product from Valentino that I've tried and I think is worth the money. I think it's a great product. Only thing I want to point out, and I always want to say this when I talk about Valentino products, the packaging is very cheap feeling. It looks nice. It looks really luxe. It's pretty, the red and the gold. I love it, but it is so lightweight. When I tell you, there's nothing that feels luxurious about this packaging. And I know if you're not feeling it physically in person, online, you probably look at this and you think, oh my gosh, that is such beautiful packaging. And it's pretty to look at, but it is very cheap. So just keep that in mind. But the Eye2Cheek formula is beautiful. I just want to point that out. Let's talk about this one from Tom Ford. So this is the Shade and Illuminate blush in the shade number 1, Brazen Rose. Okay, these are, I don't even know what the retail price of these is, but I know they are very, very expensive. This shade I got at a cosmetics company store, which if you don't know, they are outlet stores basically, and you can get any Estee Lauder brand there at a discount. It kind of depends on the one you go to and when you go as to what products they have. But this, I was able to get 75% off. So I did not pay the full price for this. And you can see, do you see how powdery this formula is, which I don't really love, but this shade is number 1. I remember this the only one that they had. And it's just so light. I want to keep it because it's Tom Ford, but this shade is just not, it's so light. I mean, it would show up on my skin, but it's not going to give you much color. I honestly might put this one in the maybes. If you've been watching these declutters, you'll know I've been doing a maybe pile. And at the end, I'm going to go through and do a get ready with me using a lot of the maybe products. So I think that one is going to be a maybe for now. All right, I have 2 from Hourglass. I have Sublime Flush and Diffused Heat. Sublime Flush is my favorite. This is the one I was talking about earlier that is similar to that Maybelline blush in the shade 20. I am definitely keeping Sublime Flush. I love this one. It's a light pink lavender, and I like it because it has warmth and it has cooler tones in it. So together they just really balance out well. I just love this shade. So that will definitely stay. I also have Diffused Heat, which is more of like a bright pink. I use Sublime Flush much more than Diffused Heat. Diffused Heat is warmer and it's more of like a vibrant pink. So I'm going to keep this because I like the Hourglass blush formula, but I prefer Sublime Flush if I had to pick. Then we have classic NARS Orgasm. This was a limited edition compact they did a while ago, and I'm actually going to declutter this up. Obviously this is like a classic blush, but I will say I feel like mine has gotten kind of, I don't know if it's hard pan or I feel like the payoff on it is not what it used to be. I mean, it's pretty, but I feel like I've just kind of outgrown this in a way. I don't ever use it anymore. So I feel like I could let that go and be fine. And then I have this little trio from Surat. This was gifted to me in PR. So they gave me all 3 of these. If you're not familiar with Surat, most of their products you can buy, or you do buy, the pans separately from the palettes. And this palette and these blushes were gifted to me a while ago. These 2 are they're a little bit too bright for my skin tone, especially that one. Do you see how bright that one is? I don't remember the shades. You have to like take these out in order to see the shades, and I don't remember what they are at the moment. But the formula on these, it's just like the bronzer, just like the eyeshadows. Gorgeous, thin, finely milled, velvety, smooth powder formula. I mean, 10 out of 10. That one I'm not going to use. That one I might use, but it's still not a color I go for a lot. I do really like this middle one, which I should know the name of, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. This one has some shimmer in it, but it's kind of similar to like Sublime Flush or those really bright poppy pinks that have been popular for a while. I do really like that shade, but I just don't know if I need this. I really don't. I feel like if I keep it, it'll just kind of collect dust. I guess I could keep it for like, I don't know, comparison purposes, but I really stray away from doing that just because I just think it's kind of silly to hang on to something for the possibility of maybe doing a comparison at some point in life, but you might never even do. I don't know. I feel like I could let go of that. I told you I was going to get rid of some stuff this time. Okay, Makeup Forever and Wherever Rose. This is one of their newer blushes after they reformulated a little while ago. I'm running out of room here. This is just a classic like dusty pink rose matte blush. I like this. Not my favorite matte formula of all of them in my collection, but it's nice. And this is a pretty new product to me, so that one I do want to hang on to. And then this is the Dior blush, but this is before they rebranded. So the packaging is the old packaging. It's like the Dior that's not in all caps like they are now. But this one is in the shade Carnel, I believe. Yes, or Charnel. 459 Charnel. And I bought this, I don't even remember how long I've had this, but I know I've had it for quite a while. I bought this because one of my favorite makeup artists, Melissa Herkman, uses this all the time in her kit, and I bought it because of that. That is it there. It's just kind of a light, warmer nude. This is another one though that I don't ever really use. And now it's been reformulated. I can't get rid of that one. I like that. I like that. And that shade, it's not like an orangey nude. It's just like a warmer nude. Okay, that one is gonna stay. Moving right along, guys, I can already tell you, most of these are probably not gonna make it through the declutter. Okay, let's do Pat McGrath first. So I have two Pat McGrath blushes. I have Nude Venus and Aphrodite Amore. These are nice. There's nothing wrong with Pat McGrath blushes. I think they're good, but these do not speak to me. They don't speak to me. I never want to use these. This is Aphrodite Amore, so it's more of like the bright pink and the lighter pink mixed together. Very good formulas, but I'm not a huge Pat McGrath fan. I'm just not, and I don't know why it's not. I don't know. I'm not drawn to Pat McGrath products, and I feel like I keep buying them and I keep trying them, and I'm just not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. So I am going to declutter those. They're not bad, but just not something I feel like I need to have. Okay, then I have 3 of these Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic blushes. This one, I'm about to lose the mirror. This was in my Charlotte Tilbury phase when I first started YouTube. I love Charlotte Tilbury. That was like my #1 brand. So I have Ecstasy, Love Trap, and Pillow Talk. I used to use these all the time, but I could not tell you the last time I used this. I mean, I feel like this formula is it's definitely not a bad formula, but I don't know, it's kind of outdated, I think. at this point, and I never use it. That's Ecstasy. I also have, what is this called actually? I think I just called it Love Trap. That's like my favorite lip liner. That one is the Climax. It's more of like a bronzy blush. And then of course we have Pillow Talk down here. And I don't know, these are just kind of like meh to me now. And I used to love these. This used to just be everything, but I don't know, I don't use them. I don't use these anymore. So those are gonna go. Then we have 3 Haus Labs blushes. So these are in the older packaging. This is before they took them off the shelves, came out with them again in new packaging. They're now smaller than this, and they now have the color of the blush on the outside, which I prefer. I think that was a better choice. I also don't mind that they made them a little bit smaller. I don't love how large these are personally. So I have Pomelo Peach, Dragon Fruit Daze, and Hibiscus Haze. Is that right? Yeah. Hibiscus Haze is my favorite, no doubt. These two are nice. They are extremely pigmented though, and it's just not what I go for now. I just never find myself wanting to use these, and now these aren't even the ones you can buy on the market. So I'm not gonna swatch these or I'll swatch this one because I think I'm gonna keep this one. This one is Hibiscus Haze. I love this color. It's kind of like a watermelon color, but look how pretty that shade is. So I'm gonna keep Hibiscus Haze, and I'm gonna declutter these two. I'm not gonna swatch them because I'm probably gonna resell these, honestly, because they've barely been touched, and I don't think I need them. So I'm gonna declutter those. I also have Benefit in the shade Willa. And now this is my kind of blush. This is my kind of color, this like rosy pink. Is this like a favorite formula? No, it's not a bad formula. Yeah, Willa's gonna stay. And then we're left with 2 from Too Faced. These were the Cloud Crush blurring blushes. I have Candy Clouds and Velvet Crush. I am unsure of this. This formula is actually, like the name says, it actually is a very blurring, like smoothing formula. Let me get some more. This is Velvet Crush. It's kind of like a warmer, not really a bronze, but it's really not super pink. It's like a little bit of a nude with like a rosy undertone, I guess. And then Candy Clouds is that poppy, viral pink. Do you remember when this blush in Candy Clouds, it was so hard to find, you could not get it? And I'm gonna keep a few of the blushes that I have in these bright pink colors, but not all the ones I have, because there's a time and place for this like bright pink. I still like it, but am I reaching for that color on the daily? No, I'm not. So this one is gonna go, just because I know there's a few others that are similar in my collection that I would rather keep over this one. So that one is gonna go. I am unsure of this Velvet Crush because I like the color, but I also don't know if I'm gonna pull this out and use it. I think it can go. I think it can go. Oh my goodness. The Kosas blushes, these are very, very new, and I love this formula. I have Dreamland, Bliss, and Euphoria, and these are fabulous. I love everything about them. Perfect level of pigment, perfect amount of like a radiance, luminosity without being glittery or shimmery, and still having color. It's just a perfect balance to me of radiance and pigment. So I have Dreamland, which is beautiful. I have Euphoria, which is kind of like a mauvey pink. And I have Bliss, which is kind of more of a warmer, like peachy pink. But I love them all. So those are easy keeps. Then we have 3 from MAC right here. So this is the Glow Play blush. This is the newer version. They just kind of relaunched these. I don't know if they changed the formula or not. To me, they don't really feel very different from before, but this one is Blush Please, and this color for my blush taste is perfect. This is me in a blush. Yes, it's very neutral, very rosy, pinky, kind of like a nude shade, but that's what I wear, that's what I like. So that's an easy keep. Then I have one of the mineralized blushes in Warm Soul. I picked this up for my MAC video a few weeks ago, if you saw that. And oops, I feel like I didn't get to use much of this blush in that video because I used the Glow Play blush, So it's, again, a warmer nude, a little bit more sheer than the Glow Play. It has a little bit more radiance to it as well. But I do like that color, so I will keep. And then this is one of the sheer tone blushes in the shade Sunbask. So this is a very, do you hear my cat? This is a very sheer formula, and it's the warmest one of the 3. It's a very warm nude, but okay, this one in the summertime, it's kind of like a sunburn kind of shade. And this formula from MAC, I feel like no one really talks about these, the sheer tones, but this color I do really like and I want to keep. So those are staying. Then we have 3 from Dior. We have Rosewood, which is the newer, rebranded, repackaged Dior, and these 2. So these are the original Rosy Glow blushes, the pink and the coral. The coral, this is a pretty blush, but I will say this is a really good coral. It's not, it looks a lot different than it does on the outside. On the inside, it's not as orangey as it looks on the outside, but I don't ever use this kind of color, and I don't really know why. It's kind of similar to Luminoso from Milani. Yeah, I'm not gonna use that. That one's gonna go. Then we have the original pink one, and this is the original formula. I don't use these bright pinks as much anymore. I'm not as into it as I once was. And then there's Rosewood, which is the newer one, and Rosewood is the one I like the most just in terms of the shade. So Rosewood is definitely gonna stay. I'm just trying to decide about the pink one. When I decide, let me swatch this next to it. So this is NARS Thrill, this is the newer NARS formula as well. NARS also recently re-released their blushes, and this is like their version of the Dior Rosy Glow blush. So the NARS is more, or it is a matte, very, very silky, smooth matte formula. The Dior one has a little bit more of a satin, not so much of a matte formula. I definitely don't need both of these. Okay, I'm gonna keep NARS and I'm gonna declutter Dior. Unless I end up changing my mind about the Dior. Maybe the pink Dior actually will go in the maybes. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then I have one more from NARS. This is Dolce Vita. This is one of my favorite shades from NARS. I love Dolce Vita. This is before they relaunched them with new packaging. So Dolce Vita is just a beautiful rosy mauve color. Kind of similar to Velvet Crush from Too Faced, but I do prefer the NARS formula over the Too Faced. I want to see how similar that formula is, or that shade is, I should say, to this Makeup Forever. So they're very similar. So this is Wherever Rose. This is Dolce Vita from NARS. NARS is not a flat matte formula. The Makeup Forever one is. The NARS has just like more of a satin finish. We're gonna keep. Moving right along, we have 3 from Persona. I have Georgia, Bubble, and Jam. I love the Persona blush formula. me swatch these for you. I'm going to try to utilize this other hand a little bit more. So I have Jam, Bubble, which is, again, that bright pink, and then Georgia. Georgia is my favorite in the powder. I love, Georgia is like the perfect peach. So Georgia is definitely staying. I think I might get rid of Jam. I might see if my mom wants this actually. This shade in the powder form is a little too intense for me. It's a little bit too pigmented. I actually like this a lot in the cream formula, which we'll get to in a minute. But this one in the powder is just a little too intense for my skin tone. So I'm going to declutter Jam, and I'm going to keep Bubble because this is probably one of the first pink blushes that got super popular. This one and the Dior one. And yeah, I really love Persona as a brand as well. So I want to definitely hold on to that. Then I have two from Bare Minerals. I have the bronzer and I have the highlighting blush. So the bronzer I have in the shade Kiss of Pink. Or this color, this packaging I should say, is the original packaging for the bronzer. They were supposed to be limited edition and then they ended up bringing them back in different packaging. I think the packaging is black now, but these are now permanent, I believe. But Kiss of Pink, perfect pink nude. And the formula, this bronzer formula is really, really good. So that will stay. I will declutter this highlighting blush. So this is one of their newer formulas that came out, I guess it was last year. This one is Pink Glow. And it's pretty. It's a light pink with some golden sheen in it. And it's very smooth, very like creamy formula. But I don't ever use this type of blush formula for the most part. Somewhat similar to the Rare Beauty. Not quite as glittery as the Rare Beauty, but it's like a similar type of product. And I really don't use that much. So I am gonna declutter that one. Then I have two from Gucci. I have Rosy Beige, which is exactly that, a rosy beige. And this formula from Gucci is really nice. It is, they call it a matte, a luminous matte. And the reason for that is because the formula is very typical of a matte blush. It's very smooth, feels very finely milled, but it has just like the slightest bit of a skin-like finish to it, not totally flat matte. So these are really, really nice. I have Radiant Pink also, which is just like a warmer pink, but these are beautiful. Those I will definitely be keeping. Then I have two from Makeup by Mario. Sorry, I'm wiping my hand. Wiping my fingers off in between this. So I have Mellow Mauve and I have Poppy Pink. Poppy Pink is a really bright pink, but it's like a warmer, like a strawberry pink almost. But this tone is really, really beautiful. And I don't have any other powder blush in a color like this. I would have to be pretty careful with this kind of color on my skin tone, but I love that hot pink. So I am gonna keep, and I'm also gonna keep Mellow Mauve. This one is much more muted. And this one actually has a little bit of like more of a sheen to it than the Poppy Pink does, but this is much more approachable, much more muted, like the name says, more of an everyday kind of color. But I do really like the Makeup by Mario powder blushes, so I'm gonna keep. Then I have three here, but I also have a fourth one of these from Armani. So these were sent to me. I did not buy these, and I like this formula a lot, but I don't use all of these. So I want to show you the ones that I have. This is shade 51. This is the one I use the most. As you can see, it's probably very obvious. This is the type of color that I clearly like. It's like a warmer pink, like a rosier pink. Very, very nice. These I would describe as a satin finish for sure. So they're not flat matte, but they're not really luminous. They have more of a satin skin, kind of natural look on the face. This one I will definitely keep. This shade is the one that has the most shimmer in it. So this is shade 50. And this one is, I would say, very similar to Orgasm from NARS. In fact, it's almost identical to Orgasm from NARS. It has that golden sheen. It's more sheer, kind of like a peachy pink. I think I am going to keep this color because, like I said, it's similar to Orgasm, and we did declutter Orgasm. I want to have one that kind of looks like that. So here's that. Then I have this one, which this is definitely not a shade that I would have picked. So shade 60 is just kind of more of a reddish wine color, which is beautiful, but not really something that I would pick for my skin tone. So 60, I am going to declutter. And then I have 52, which is more of like a hot pink. Kind of, well, I was gonna say it's kind of similar to Poppy Pink from Mario, but actually this one's a little bit cooler toned. I think I'm also gonna declutter this color. I don't know that I will use that shade much, so that one is gonna go as well. Now we're getting into things that I have like multiples of. So none of these I don't think are gonna get decluttered, but we'll go through them quickly. The Mario blush veils. I love this. I love these. This is one of my favorite blushes. This is one of my favorite blushes in my collection. So I have 5 of them. So I have Perfect Pink. I have Barely Blushing, which is like the most neutral nude one. Oh! I have this one, which is Strawberry Sunset. This is one of his newest ones. Just peachy. These are foolproof blushes. You cannot mess these up. They're very sheer, very, very creamy, blendable. Just like you can't mess them up. You cannot mess them up. They are very glowy though, so they don't really set down. They are the same formula as the Skin Enhancer from Mario. They're very dewy and glowy on the skin, so you have to like that. So we have Perfect Pink, Barely Blushing, Strawberry Sunset, Coral Sunrise, and then I forget, Pinch Me Pink is this one. But I love these. If you want a dewy blush, kind of like a tinted balm blush, these are perfect. I love them all. They are all staying. I have 2 of the Haus Labs Color Fuse Glassy Lip and Cheeks. So these are kind of like the Mario blush veils, but just in a stick. And I love both of these as well. So these will both be staying, but I have Glassy Hibiscus, which is like a cooler kind of mauve color, and then Glassy Pomelo, which is a warmer kind of peachy pink. Sorry if you can hear my cat. She has like the zoomies and she's making all kinds of noise. But Glassy Hibiscus, Glassy Pomelo, love. But do you see how truly glassy and glossy they are? So these are very similar to these. These from Haus Labs are honestly probably a little bit even glassier on the skin than the Mario. I love that type of formula, but it's not going to be for everybody, but I love these. And then I have 3 of the Rhode blushes, and I will also be keeping these. I actually love this blush formula. Now these are more of like I would say more of a satin finish. They're not as dewy and glossy as like the Haus Labs. Like maybe you can see there, they definitely have a lot of moisture. They're very hydrating, so they do give you that like, you know, cream blush look, but they're not as glassy and glossy looking as these or like even the Marios. So, and they're pretty pigmented, honestly. These have a decent amount of pigment for this type of formula. So that was Piggy. And then Toasted Teddy, which Toasted Teddy is gorgeous. Even on like my lighter skin tone, if you use it really lightly. it looks kind of like a sunburnt color, but I just can't use very much of it. But you can see these have a decent amount of pigment. And they do have some glow, but not nearly as glowy as these. So just if you're wanting to know the difference. But those are all staying. Okay, do I even need to say anything here? Okay, if you are new to my channel and you don't watch my content, I love Patrick Ta. I love his whole brand. I love him. I love his blushes so much. As you can see, I think I have all of them. I think I might be missing like one, maybe two, but I have most of them, as you can see. So none of these are going to be decluttered. Now, I will swatch them for you, even though this is going to take me a minute to sit here and swatch. But I will swatch them for you just in case you really want to see one. I do have all three of his blush palettes as well. These were limited edition for the holidays, so you can't get them anymore. I keep them because I love his products. So this was Major Dimension or Major Headlines Blush Palette 2. So I had two blushes and a highlight. I will keep, this was the original blush palette. So these you can actually get in singles now. So I don't have singles of these colors because I have this palette, but this was, she's a doll, she's vibrant, and she's baked. And then this was his palette from last year that had two blushes and then these really pretty glitter toppers. So that I will keep. In fact, maybe I will swatch this original palette because I think you can get all of these as singles. Okay, but we'll start. And I'll tell you what my favorites are as we go. She's Wanted. Love this color. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it's very pigmented. But if you apply this very sheerly, if you are a lighter skin tone and you just are a little bit more careful with it, this color, I know it looks scary, but when you blend it out, it is the most beautiful, like blood rush to your skin kind of color. And that may not sound good to you, but I promise you this shade, something about it has like a blue berry kind of tone to it. It's just, it's stunning. So needless to say, none of these are going anywhere. So that was She's Wanted. Then we have Just Enough. Now this is one of his newer shades he released earlier this year. And this is more of like a lighter pastel blue-based pink. So that is Just Enough. Very good if you're more fair or fair light or even like a light skin tone and you like that pastel blue-based pink. This is a really good option. Let me actually move these over so it'll be easier to see. Okay, then, okay, this is my first love of Patrick Ta blushes. If I had to pick one, it would either be this or another one we'll get to in a minute, but this was my first love. She's That Girl. Is that girl. She is that girl in my blush collection. I just think this pink, it is the perfect warm pink to me. It's not too warm. It's not cool tone though. It just is the most beautiful. And I feel like this color doesn't get a whole lot of love, but this one, it's just my favorite. I love it so much. I would recommend that to anyone. And then we have, okay, this is the other one that I love. This was another one of the newer releases that came out earlier this year. This is Not Too Much, and this is such a beautiful nude. It's kind of, I would say it's pretty neutral. It's not super warm, but it's definitely not super cool toned either. It is just absolutely gorgeous. This was, I'm so glad that he came out with this shade because I feel like this is one shade that was kind of missing from his collection. But these two are my favorite. She's That Girl and Not Too Much. I just love. I would never, ever, ever, ever be without those. Let's see what else we got. Okay, She's the Moment. This was the third shade he brought out with Just Enough and Not Too Much. So this one is a pretty bright coral. and it's beautiful. It's very pigmented, so this one on my skin tone I have to be a little bit more careful with. But if you like a true poppy coral, this color is absolutely beautiful. He did have a shade that was called, I can't think of it. He had another shade, and I don't think they sell it on Sephora anymore, but it was a coral, but it was much more orange leaning. It wasn't like a true coral. This one though, if you like those kinds of colors, it's beautiful. Then we have, okay, She's Giving. So this is an extremely bright pink, very, very bright. So obviously on my skin tone, if I use this, I have to be very, very light-handed with it. But if you have a deeper skin tone, like medium tan or deep skin, this color is just so beautiful. It's obviously very blue-based. It's very cool toned. It's kind of like a magenta, but that is She's Giving. Kind of a similar undertone to Just Enough. Just Enough is just a lighter, less pigmented version of She's Giving. Then She's Flushed. Now this is a color I don't use a whole lot. This one is really hard to describe. I never really know how to describe She's Flushed. It's kind of like a terracotta nude kind of color. I would say like a nude terracotta with like just a hint of like a peachy tone to it. So that She's Flushed. I don't use that shade a ton, but it is really pretty. I kind of need to use it more. Definitely on the warmer side. I would say probably good for like medium skin tones, but that is She's Flushed. I'm about to run out of room. Then we have She's Blushing. Now She's Blushing is a deeper version of Not Too Much, which is right here. This is better if you have a medium or deeper skin tone and you want like a warmer nude. I would go with this one. Which is She's Blushing, because the undertones are very similar. They're warmer, like kind of blushy nude colors. So this is the She's Blushing. And you can see, so the undertone is very similar. It's kind of like a rosy taupe undertone. This one just has more pigment. So if you are darker than me, I would probably go with this. If you are much, much darker than me, She's Baked, which is in this palette right here. I'll swatch that in a minute. That one is a beautiful terracotta nude, but it's very, very deep. But if you have a deep skin tone, that color is beautiful. And okay, Oh She's Different. Now Oh She's Different is most similar to She's Wanted. She's Wanted is more blue-based. Oh She's Different is a little bit more of a wine, not as much of a berry. I would describe She's Wanted as more of a berry tone. So this is Oh She's Different on my finger. So you can see it's the most similar, I would say, to this one, but it's not the same. It's definitely different. It's more of a wine and not quite as intensely pigmented either. And then last is Oh She's Different. Now this one is more of a bronze color. So it's honestly, you could definitely use this as a bronzer. I don't know. I want you to be able to see. I guess I'm gonna have to start going up here. So this one is like a true bronze. It has a little bit of a red undertone. It's not a super orangey type of color. So the red undertone makes it look more realistic to me, more like a true bronze, like a tone that you would actually see on skin. That's what She's So LA is. Beautiful. I don't use this one very much, but it's a beautiful color. And finally, I'll swatch these three in this palette because you can get these individually as well. Okay, so we have She's a Doll right here. She's a Doll is similar to She's Giving, but She's a Doll is warmer. She's Giving is more blue-based, which is this one. She's a Doll is kind of the same depth of pink, but this one has more warmth. I do really like She's a Doll. Then we have She's Vibrant. This one is kind of, let's see. This one isn't really that similar to anything. This is kind of more of like I would describe it as like a pomegranate, but beautiful color. And then finally, She's Baked. So this is the one I was talking about earlier that's more of like a deeper terracotta color. If you have a tan or deep skin tone, this shade is absolutely beautiful as well. It has a gorgeous undertone. So that is She's Baked. So She's Baked. She's vibrant. She's a doll. She's so LA. She's wanted. Just enough. She's that girl. Not too much. She's the moment. She's giving. She's flushed. She's blushing. And oh, she's different. Can you tell I'm a fan? I didn't even have to look up the colors. So obviously those are all staying. Hopefully that was helpful if you are wanting a Patrick Ta blush and you're not really sure which one to get. I hope that was helpful. Now, again, we're getting into what I have multiples of. So let's get into these. We'll start with Westman Atelier. I love these. I love this formula. I have 3. And I love all 3. So these are all gonna stay, but I will swatch them for you quickly. We have Petal, which is absolutely beautiful, like a rosier pink. We have Coquette, or Poppette, excuse me. Yes, Poppette, which is a very, very bright, vibrant magenta, but it looks really pretty if you apply it kind of sheerly on my skin tone. And then we have Chouchette, which is more of like a peachy, warmer peachy shade. If you never tried these, they are pretty pigmented, very easy to blend, easy to work with, but you still get a decent amount of color. They have the most luxurious, beautiful packaging, heavy, just such a nice just treat to use. I love this formula so much. They're magnetic, definitely will keep all of those. Then we have 2 from Makeup by Mario. So these are his Soft Pop blush sticks. So these are a different formula than the blush veils that we were talking about earlier. These are much more of a cream, like an opaque cream with a lot of pigment. So I have this one, which is the shade Sweet Pink, kind of like a peachier, warmer pink. That's actually one of his newer shades he launched recently. And then I have Dusty Rose, which is just that, kind of a cooler, mauvier, dusty rose there. I like this formula a lot though, so I will keep. These are pretty similar, I would say, to the Rhode blushes. They're pretty pigmented. They are definitely going to give you a little bit of a glow because they're a cream formula, but they're not nearly as glassy or glossy as the Haus Labs or the blush veils from Mario, and they're more pigmented than those as well. So those I will keep. I have 2 of the Milk Cooling Water tints. I forget. So I got these in PR. I'm not going to swatch them because you can't really swatch these. If you do, the stain will never come off. It will never come off. And I'm swatching so many things, I really don't want to stain my arm more than it's already stained. But this is the shade Splash and the shade Chill. So Chill is more of like a reddish pink. Splash is more of a berry kind of color. I like these and I will be keeping them. The only way, in my opinion, to use these and apply them without any mishaps or any issues is to get them directly from the applicator with a brush, tap just a few times, and then go on your skin. If you try to swipe or apply a ton of this product, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a really hard time. But if you apply them that way, they are beautiful and they last. These last all day. Then I have 3 Dibs Desert Island Duo Sticks. So I have shade 3, shade 2, and shade 2.5. So if you're not familiar with these, you get a bronzer on one end and a blush on the other end. I do not use these very much. Mainly the bronzers. I like the blushes more than the bronzers, mainly for the colors. To me, let me move these out of the way. To me, all of the bronzers, regardless of what they say online, run warm. So like this one is shade 3, I believe. That's the bronzer, and I think they describe, I don't remember if it's shade 3 or shade 2. One of them they describe as having like a more neutral, cooler bronzer, and they all lean very warm to me. So this is shade 3. I love this blush color. It's like a true peach. Then we have 2.5, which has that really light baby pink blush. And then I want to say they said this bronzer was cooler also, but it's very warm to me. And then we have shade 2, which I think shade 2 is the one I had. Yeah. So shade 2 has the warmest bronzer. It's leaning orange. I can make it work, but it's definitely the warmest of the ones that I have. And then the blush is like a warmer pink. Yeah. So I believe it's shade 2, 3, and 2.5. They don't have the numbers on some of them, and some of them do have the numbers. But this is a really nice cream formula. Reminds me of the Rogue blushes. About the same level of color. It is nice that you get the bronzer and the blush together. Just keep in mind, if you like a more cool or neutral leaning bronzer, most of these that I've seen lean warm, the bronzers. But the formula is nice. I like the dual-ended, but just keep that in mind. If you're looking for a shade, I am gonna keep all of mine though. And lastly, we have the Persona blushes. One of my favorite cream blush formulas that I own. These are perfect. They are pigmented, but not too pigmented. They stay a little bit dewy looking, but they're not glassy or glossy. They have a pretty natural, slightly luminous finish. But I will swatch the ones that I have. Actually, I like all the colors that I have. So I'm probably not going to declutter these, but I will swatch them for you. So we have Caramel, which is one of the newer launches with Georgia. So these two, they also have in their powder blush formula. I do not have Caramel in the powder. I do have Georgia though. Love both of those for sure. Then we have Bloom. Bloom was a limited edition color. I'm not sure if you can still get it. It's a warmer pink. It was in collaboration with Sarah Vindal, maybe? I might have her last name wrong, but a creator. I think she mainly does TikTok and Instagram. This was a collaboration with her, and I do love the color. Then we have Jam. So Jam is the one I did declutter in the powder, but in the cream, it's much easier to sheer this color out. So it's I can definitely make it work. And I love the undertone. It's very similar to She's Wanted from Patrick Ta. Then we have Teddy, which is like a warm terracotta color. Ooh, so good. Love that one. And then of course Bubble, which is the really bright kind of electric pink. But I love all of these and I will be keeping all of them. One of my favorite blushes in my collection is this one from Victoria Beckham in the shade Fame. If you've been around my channel for a while, you may remember when I just would not shut up about this color. It is so incredibly beautiful. It's kind of like a more muted version of Patrick Ta, She's Wanted. Kind of a mix between She's Wanted and Oh She's Different from Patrick Ta. But this formula from Victoria Beckham is a little bit more sheer. It's not quite as pigmented as some of the other creams we've talked about, but it's buildable and it is just the most beautiful natural skin finish, but in a cream blush. I absolutely love this. I want to get some more of these. The packaging is beautiful. It's heavy. It's nice. I can't recommend those enough from Victoria Beckham. Then I have this one from Huda Beauty. I am going to declutter this. I don't even remember what this is called. I think it was Cheeky Tint Blush Stick or something. This one is in Proud Pink. This is like a metallic cream blush. It has a lot of gold pearlescence in it. And at one time I was a little bit more into that, but that's not really my thing anymore. And I actually don't know if they even make these anymore. So that I can declutter. Then I have this one from Jane Iredale. This is the Glow Time Blush Stick in the shade Balmy. I bought this because I always hear Lisa J rave about this formula, and I also really like the formula, and the color is beautiful. It's a little bit of a warmer rose. I'm trying to think of what it's most similar to. a little bit more pigmented than the Victoria Beckham. Probably the most similar, honestly, to like the Persona blush sticks or even the Mario blush sticks that we were talking about earlier. This is the shade Balmy though, and it's a really beautiful warm rose. I will keep. Then we have nude sticks, and these three, I think, yeah, these three were sent to me in PR, so I did not buy these. I have the shade Sunkissed, which is like a terracotta sunburn kind of color. I have Picante, which is the really bright, like orangey color, which I would not personally ever buy for my skin tone, but I didn't buy this. These were sent to me. And then this one's my favorite. This one is Body Language, and that one is more of like a rosy nude. I'm kind of torn on these. I do know I'm going to declutter Picante. As you probably guessed, I would never use that really for my skin tone, so I am going to declutter that one. I'm honestly debating decluttering all three of these just because this is a fine formula, but it's definitely not up there with these other ones like Persona, Rhode, Westman Atelier. Yeah, so I am going to declutter Body Language because I do love that color, but I have so many that are similar to that. Like, I kind of want to see how similar that is to like Petal from Westman Atelier. They're pretty similar. So Petal, yeah, I'm going to keep Petal, declutter that one. I'm debating on Sunkissed just because I don't really have a color like this that I can think of. Let me actually see how this looks next to like Teddy from Persona. Yeah, so this one, the undertones are different. Teddy's a little bit warmer. This one's a little bit more red toned. I think I might hold on to Sunkissed. I feel like that's a little bit different from some of my others. And then I have two from Pat McGrath. So this is one product from Pat McGrath I actually really like. These are her color balms. And I have Alluring Nude, which is this one. This one is my newest one. It's like a warmer nude. It really goes with everything. And then I have Divine Rose, which is like a true warm rose. And I like both of these. Now these are much more balmy, very similar to Mario Blush Veils and Haus Labs Color Fuse. Probably not quite as glassy as Haus Labs Color Fuse. Probably most similar to Mario Blush Veils, just in a stick. But I like those. I'm going to keep those. Okay, moving right along. We're getting near the end. We're not totally at the end, but we are nearing the end. Okay. I'm going to keep the Givenchy Prisme Libre Loose Blush. This one is shade number 2. This one is really hard to swatch, but these are like the powder, but with pigment, with blush pigment. They have 4 different tones. You can mix them, or you do mix them together, and they are a very blurring, smoothing blush formula, just like the powder, the Prisme Libre powder. So this, I will say the packaging is not the best because you can't, there's no sifter or anything. No, there's not, to close it off. So it's kind of hard to put the cap back on and not get product everywhere unless you use everything that you got in the cap. But I do like this. Not something I use all the time, but I do think it's a good formula. So I will keep. Now, I have a Chantecaille blush. This is the shade Laughter, and it's the coral blush. So it looks like this. I got this a while ago. I did a video on Chantecaille, and this was one of the products that I got. This is a pretty blush. It's a warmer, kind of corally shade. Do I think these from Chantecaille are worth the money? No, I don't. I would not buy another one of these. First of all, they're very, very tiny. I was shocked at how small these are when I got this. And they're Are they a nice formula? Yes, they're very velvety, very buttery smooth, very easy to apply. They're a nice formula. Not worth the price though. The packaging is nothing to write home about, but I'm gonna keep it because I haven't gotten much use out of this one at all, and I need to get some more use out of it because it was expensive. So I am gonna keep it, but do I think these are worth it from Chantecaille? No, I do not. Okay, so I have these 3 nude blushes here, and I swatched them all on my hand. So we have Tarte Exposed, Buxom, Seychelles, and Clinique Nude Pop. In my mind, these are all very similar, but as you can see, they're actually not. Like Exposed is matte, a little bit, or it's deeper than these two. This one is Buxom and Seychelles. This is more of like a, it's a bronze, but it has a little bit of like a mauve tone to it, like a mauve bronze. And then Nude Pop from Clinique is just like a really light, warmer nude. These are older in my collection and I don't use them. I'm gonna swatch Chai from Laura Mercier next to these because I kind of want to see how it compares. I mean, they're all different to each other. That one's a little bit cooler toned, I feel. I think Clinique Nude Pop can go. I think, well, it's super, super light, but I have to remember I have more color in my skin right now than I typically do. I don't know. Oh, and then, okay, I just thought of another one. I also have this from Sephora Collection. This is their matte blush in the shade Self-Made, which is like a matte, just a typical matte blush, similar to Exposed from Tarte. Why do I want to keep all of them? But I mean, these are ones I really don't reach for. All right, we're gonna get rid of Seychelles. I loved this one, as you can see, but it's a little bit more metallic than I remember it being. Like it's a lot, I don't know. The formula is a little bit different than I remember it being. It's also very crumbly, like when I was swatching that one. I think that one could go. I'm gonna keep Chai from Laura Mercier. I almost feel like I need to pick between these two. I'm gonna swatch Tarte again because the swatch looks different than I remember it. I wonder if it's because I had another pink on my finger when I swatched it. It's definitely very similar to this one. Like that's Sephora, that's Tarte. I'm gonna keep Sephora. Oh, and then I also have Crystal Slipper. Let me see how this compares actually. I mean, honestly, that formula, the rest of these can't hold a candlestick to this. RMS is gonna stay. Clinique is gonna go. I'm torn on this one for some reason. Part of me kind of want to keep Exposed. I don't know why, but part of me kind of wants to keep this, even though it's similar to Sephora Collection. All right, I think we are gonna keep that. Now we're on to these. I just realized I have this one from MAC. Also, this is the Extra Dimension blush in Into the Pink. Now this is more of like a highlighting type blush, which is not really what I'm into right now, but this one is so pretty. The tone and the color, I've got to keep that one. So that one is staying. Then we have this Fenty blush in the shade Petal Poppin'. So when these came out, this was like my favorite cream blush for a long time. It reminds me so much of my favorite Patrick Ta and She's That Girl. It's just a perfect warm pink. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, do I want this or do I just want my She's That Girl from Patrick Ta? I feel like I want the Fenty. I feel like that I've loved that one for so long, so I'm gonna keep that. Then I have Jane Iredale in Barely Rose. And this, I think I bought this during like an Ulta sale or something. It's a really light, warm pink. That one I'm gonna keep, but I'm gonna put this in the maybe pile actually because I feel like this one has not gotten much use from me at all. And I want to use, I might use this in an upcoming Get Ready With Me. So that one I will put there. Natasha Denona Mini Dream Glow Blush. I will keep this as well. So this came out with her, what was it? The My Mini Dream palette, which I love. It's like my favorite mini Natasha Denona palette. And it's a really light, kind of a rosy nude highlight and blush kind of mixed together. I do like it though. So that one can stay. We have Charlotte Tilbury Blush and Glow. So this was from Holiday last year. And you get a pink blush, and then the highlight in here I actually thought was really nice in this palette. And the blush is really, really bright, kind of like Makeup by Mario Poppy Pink. It's a warmer, hot pink. But this was actually a nice powder formula. But like I said, I have Poppy Pink from Mario in the powder, and it's very similar to that. And I like the highlight, but not enough really to warrant keeping that just for that. So I'm going to declutter. And then this is the Shiseido Minimalist Whipped Powder Blush. Now this formula does not exist. This has been discontinued for a very long time. And I'm not sure why this was discontinued, because this formula was very, very popular. It's like a putty, it's a very odd consistency. It feels like putty, kind of like Play-Doh and putty mixed together, but it's like a super blurring blush when you blend it out. And this color was Chiyoko. It's definitely like way, way, way expired and you can't get it anymore, but it's so different that I kind of want to keep it. But like, do you see how smooth and like blurring it looks right there? You probably can't tell because I've got stuff everywhere, but I'm gonna declutter. It's old, you can't get it, but I feel like that was a great product. I wish they would bring that back. All right, we are not at the end, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, I have 4 of the Merit Flush Balms. I love these. I'm not decluttering any of them. I will share the ones that I have. So I have Cheeky, which probably my favorite. It's kind of like a cooler mauve. I have Stockholm, which is like a brighter, warmer pink. Fox is very unique. It's like kind of like a terracotta type shade. And Beverly Hills is like just a true peachy pink. But this formula is very sheer, very forgiving, very balmy on the skin, most similar to the Mario blush veils. Again, this is a formula that you really can't mess these up. They're just, I love these. So these are definitely going to stay. Then I have this duo from Iconic London. This is the Silk Glow Duo in Rose Glow. So you get a blush and a highlight in here. And let me swatch this. So these are okay. They're kind of a drier formula. They do have a good bit of glitter in them. If you look really close, there are like noticeable flecks of glitter and shimmer. And it's just not a favorite formula. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. It's kind of mediocre and a little bit on the dry side, just nothing super special to me. So I will declutter that. I will also be decluttering these. The Glowgasm Beauty Light Wands. Do you remember when these were everything? They were everywhere. I have Pinkgasm and Peachgasm. These are just, they're more metallic, like I'm sure you can see there. So that's Peachgasm right there. I just don't use these types of products anymore with these sponge tip applicators. And this is just so metallic. I don't know, it's just not really my thing anymore. I do still like the color of Pinkgasm, but I'm just not going to use this type of blush formula. So I will declutter those. Then I have 2 of the e.l.f. putty blushes. I have Maui And I have Bora Bora, I think. Is that right? Yes. So Mauve is the luminous putty formula and Bora Bora is the matte putty formula. I love the shade Mauve. The one thing that drives me nuts about these though is that they kind of like congeal on the top if you're not using it constantly, and you have to kind of warm them up again. So that's Bora Bora, that's the matte formula obviously, and they're pretty nice. They're pretty, almost like a blurring kind of formula, but I don't know. I don't like this formula enough to keep that one, so Bora Bora is definitely gonna go. Mauve, I love the color. I don't love this formula. I think it's okay. I kind of want to keep Mauve. I love this color. Okay, I think Mauve can stay. Then we have Bare Minerals Original Mineral Blush in the shade Hush. So who remembers this color? Poor little Bare Minerals. I love them just because they represent me just like first getting into makeup, but so many of their like OG products I've decluttered so far because it's just not something that I use anymore. And I mean, it's a pretty blush, but like I just know I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to use this. It's not bad, but I don't know. My Bare Minerals like mineral loose phase I think is just over, you know. Then we have the Give Collagen Cheek Tint. This one is in the shade Hibiscus. Now this is a really pretty shade if I remember correctly. Yeah, and these are kind of, they have some pigment, but then as you can see, like once you start to blend it out, they really sheer out quite a bit and they're very dewy looking on the skin. So I would honestly, well, they do actually call them a tint. I was gonna say they are more of a tint because you can see how sheer they get, but I do like this color and this formula is pretty good. So I will keep. And then, all right, we have this NARS liquid blush, which, okay, NARS loves to discontinue things, and I don't understand it. They do it with eyeshadows, they do it with lip products. They seem to just want to discontinue things, or they'll discontinue it and bring them back, like the blushes. They've done that with the bronzers. These liquid blushes are so nice from NARS, but you can't get this anymore, and it is so sad because this was such a beautiful liquid blush formula. Like, look at that. And like part of me wants to declutter it because I can't really use it much for content, but it's just so pretty. Like, I think I might have to keep that. That blush is just so beautiful. I can't get rid of that. So we've got 3 from Say. These are the Dew blushes, and I have 3 of them. I'm gonna keep these. I will say though, the one thing that does annoy me about this formula is they do leak, I found. So they really do better if you can keep them upright, like standing up, but depending on your storage, sometimes that's just not like feasible. But I do like these. So this is Chili. This is Rosy, and this is Sweetie. So this is, I believe, my newest one. Chili, Rosy, and Sweetie. Rosy, honestly, is not my favorite shade now that I look at it. It leans a little bit orangey on me, which is interesting because the name of it's Rosy. It's definitely not Rosy. So honestly, I think I might declutter Rosy. I don't love that color. I do really like Chili. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna keep Chili and Sweetie and declutter Rosy. Then I have 3 from Milk. These are the lip and cheek colors. So I have Work, which Work is probably my favorite one of these. And actually the Milk lip and cheek formula is really good, but I don't reach for it much, and I'm not really sure why. I guess it's good, but there's nothing like super special about it. So Work, Rally, and Quickie. So Quickie is similar to She's Wanted from Patrick Ta, which I love, but this one is not nearly as pigmented as the Patrick Ta. Then Rally is a little bit kind of like a strawberry color with like a bluish undertone, and then Work is a warmer nude. I'm not attached to these from Milk, and I really don't know why. It's not that they're bad. There's nothing about them that is like so special to me that I feel like I have to have them, you know? Honestly think I can declutter Rally and Quickie. So these two, because those colors are pretty, but I have others in similar shades that I like more. I just feel like I could be without those. Work is the only one that I'm considering keeping because this one is definitely my favorite of the three. I feel like I could be without it, truly. So I'm gonna declutter. Okay. Definitely decluttering this from Maybelline. I did not like this formula at all. These are the Sun Kisser liquid blushes. So this one is the shade Shades On, and it's extremely sheer. It's more like a highlighter to me. It's very, very glowy, and I found these to be incredibly difficult to blend and apply. And I'm so sad because I had such high hopes for these. I love so many Maybelline products, but this formula was just it was a miss for me. So that is gonna go. I'm also gonna declutter Revlon Gel Serum Blush in the shade 110. This was another formula that just was difficult for me. It's very, very sheer, like a gel formula, like the name says, but it goes on very patchy, I found. I could not get this to apply evenly or to look even on my skin. It's not a great formula in my opinion. So that one can go. I will keep this L'Oreal Lumi liquid blush. This one is the shade Worth It, Dewy Worth It. And this is the best liquid that I've tried from the drugstore in terms of a liquid blush. This is a beautiful, like warm, kind of peachy leaning nude, and it's a gorgeous formula, pigmented but very easy to work with. These are really good from L'Oreal, so that I will keep. This Ilia stick, multi-use stick in the shade Dreamer. So I kind of feel the same about this formula as I do about the Milk formula. It's just okay. That's like a terracotta, kind of like a peachier nude, which is pretty. And you can even see like the formula is very similar. The finish is similar, but they're not great. They're okay. This was sent to me in PR, by the way. Also, I did not buy that. So I'm gonna declutter that. And then the NARS Afterglow Liquid Blush in Dolce Vita. So these, I guess, replaced those liquid blushes from NARS. I definitely preferred the liquid blushes for sure. This one is okay again, but I'm trying to avoid keeping the okay for the most part. I want to keep things that I feel really confident about, and this one is another one that I'm not super attached to. It's fine, but not great. I definitely prefer this. I would rather keep this, honestly, and declutter that one. So that's what I'm gonna do. This is it. This is the last group. I know we've been here a long time. So we have Rare Beauty liquid blushes and the e.l.f. camo liquid blushes. I am probably gonna cut a few of these, I think, just because I don't use my Rare Beauty blushes as much as I did at one time. So I might declutter a few of these, believe it or not. But the e.l.f. camo liquid blush, I have the shade Suave Mauve, and to me, okay, this formula is okay. It's just okay. I know a lot of people, it was made, I assume, to be a dupe for the Rare Beauty blush, and I think I said this even when I used this in a video. To me, these are much more similar to the Saie blushes. The formula, the texture, the way they look on the skin, they are way more similar to the Saie formula in my opinion. Again, I didn't just love these. I wanted to from e.l.f. I think they're not bad. They're not bad, but they're not my favorite. I prefer this one from L'Oreal. It's a little bit creamier and just overall I prefer that one. This one does have like a, I was gonna say a metallic look to it. It's not really metallic, but it does have a good bit of like a radiance to it. You can even kind of see it in the component. I might hang on to this one for right now. It's like I said, I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's rave worthy, I guess. Okay. Then finally, my Rare Beauty blushes. It's so funny because I remember when these were everywhere. I'm sure all of you do as well. And now I feel like I barely hear about them. It's so funny because you know how social media is. Things really take off. I mean, there for a while you couldn't even get these blushes. They were like very hard to get your hands on. So I have Bliss, which is there. That is the matte formula. And that one I will keep. It's the only one I have, I think, in the matte formula. And this is just a really nice kind of light neutral peachy pink. So that one I will keep. Then I have a mini of Joy, which is this one, which I'm going to declutter. It's a pretty shade, but not really a shade that I like on myself. So I will declutter that. Then I have the shade Worth, which is more of a rose color, very pretty. It's like a warmer, kind of like a terracotta rose. We have Happy, which is one of my favorites. This is the really bright, warmer pink. That one I definitely want to keep. We have Grace, which is more of a magenta color, a little bit cooler in tone, but still very pretty. Hope, which is probably my favorite if I had to pick one. So Hope is definitely staying. And Encourage. Encourage is kind of more of a neutral pink. Doesn't really lean, well, I guess it leans a little bit cooler now that I look at it. So there is Encourage. Worth is this one right here. This is not my favorite kind of color, and I think I could live without Worth. So Worth is gonna go. And I have Encourage and I have Grace, which is that one right there. I'm gonna keep Encourage. This is another one of my favorites when I've used these in the past. I haven't used Encourage lately. I haven't used any of these lately, to be honest, but I do really like Encourage from what I remember. So I'm gonna keep that one. I'm unsure of this one. I think we will keep that one, honestly. Okay, so we didn't get rid of many. We got rid of 2, but you know. Okay, y'all, that is everything. I know that was a lot. I have no idea how many we have here. I'm going to count everything up and I'll let you know what the numbers are. So it took me a few tries of counting, but these are the ones we're getting rid of. We're getting rid of 51 blushes here. It was gonna be 48. I did add 3 more that I originally planned to keep. I decided to get rid of Dolce Vita from NARS, mainly because this is not like the updated formula, and this one is not swatching super well. It almost feels like, I don't know, I feel like it has like a layer of hard pan on it or something. I don't know. I feel like I can let that go. So that was 49. I also decided to let go of Hibiscus Haze since I'm already getting rid of the other 2 from Haus Labs. And this is the older formula, I don't know if the formula is the same or not, but this is the older packaging. And I feel like for that reason, I'm probably not going to use it much for my content. So I'm going to declutter. And then I'm also going to declutter this Dior blush in Charnel, mainly because, again, this is the older formula, and this shade is very similar to like Chai from Mercier and a few of the other matte blushes that I kept. So I just feel like I could declutter that. So 51 is what we are decluttering. We are keeping 95. Yes, it's still an astronomical amount, but honestly, I'm pretty proud of getting rid of 51, to be honest. And I have 3 maybes. So we might either be decluttering 3 more, making it 54, or we might be keeping 3 more, making it 98. So we're gonna say for now, we're decluttering 51, keeping 95, which yes, is a lot, but I love blush. And I feel good about all of this. I feel like I made the right calls here. Nothing here makes me feel, oh no, like I don't want to get rid of that. So I think I did well in terms of choosing things to declutter. So that's it. That is it. Now the last thing, as always, we will take all the stuff we're keeping and organize everything in the drawer. And that'll be it for this video.